wake up. A nice stroll, asshole.
Don't we make you laugh? Aren't we funny?
Does that sound fine?
What's the boogeyman?
Welcome back to the Moonjuice Metal and Horror Podcast, the podcast where we live and breathe heavy metal and horror, but I'm afraid to shit on both of them. I'm Mike.
I'm Matt. So, Mike has got this fucking bird in the background that has been chirping for like an hour. I don't think he hears it on his side like I do on my side. So I'm gonna come over to your house and take care of that bird here in a minute, dude. Fucker's loud as shit. It's okay though. We'll let the bird go.
It's crazy. Your question is, Mike, what's that chirping coming from your side? What the hell could a fucking chirping be coming from?
Oh, we got all sorts of little forest creatures here in Germany, but you don't live in a forest, so the only thing it could be is a bird.
Well, I don't live in a forest, but if you look,
That's what I'm saying.
But if you look at a lot of German towns or German villages, they're like compared to the States, you have like a valley. There are trees and everything, and somehow the buildings and streets were just somehow built in between all the trees.
Yeah. That's what people don't understand, dude. Like when you talk to Americans about what they think Europe looks like,
yeah,
you never get the explanation that it's a bunch of valleys with little towns and villages in the middle of it. Like, so when Americans come over here for the first time in Europe and they see it, they're like, this is not what I imagined at all. They assume somehow that everything looks a little bit like America, like where there's a big, gigantic city, and then you drive outside of the city about an hour, and then there's some woods, right?
Yeah.
But that's not how it works here. Like, you got woods everywhere and big hills, and then there's a valley and a village, and then there's another valley and a village, and it keeps doing that until you get to the big city.
Yeah.
And then even the big city is not that far outside of the woods either.
Yeah.
So that's strictly a European thing. A lot of Americans don't know that.
Yeah, I haven't actually noticed it until recently. I mean, I started looking on Google Earth, pictures of the US or whatever, how a lot of things work. And then I compared it to, basically where I live. Because even in small towns, you have like basically just streets, concrete, cars and everything. What's normal? But you very rarely see anything that is like kind of wood. And by me directly, in the village I live in, there are trees everywhere.
Yeah.
And it literally, in comparison, it really feels like when they built this village, they somehow just build the roads between the trees and just put some houses there, more or less. Yeah, that's what it feels like.
That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like over here too, man. It's like, I don't know. I like this better because with America, and I don't know when the last time you were there was, but you can see it in movies too. We obscure the countryside with everything we can. Like, we will bulldoze nature. We'll bulldoze like pretty hills and forests and shit just to build a town, or like put street signs up, and we just completely fuck up everything that's beautiful about nature. The Germans are like, hey, nature's beautiful. Let's kind of build around that so we don't up. And like, I think that spot on the hill looks like a great place for a town. Let's put a town there,
Yeah.
So I mean, Europe just in general is a prettier place. But most Americans don't know that unless they get over here, or people from other countries that resemble America. Anyway, I say all that to say it is not weird that you have a bird chirping at you outside of your window.
I haven't even noticed it, to be honest.
Yeah, we have everything here, including chipmunks and what do you call those things in English? Hedgehogs.
Yeah,
that are in the yard, and martyrs, which Americans have no idea what a martyr is.
Yeah, a kind of wild version of a ferret.
Yeah, and they like to chew your cables in your car and your motorcycle and everything.
It's not the same species. It's also not the animal that the ferrets were bred off of. Those were Iltissa. Yeah. But it is the same kind of. It's a, I would say, like cheetah, tiger, lion thing. with
Yeah.
ferrets, mob, and the kind of thing. They are in the same animal family, but they're not the same species.
It's basically like an evil weasel, right?
Yes, exactly.
Is a good way to explain it. It's like an evil weasel. I don't
Yeah.
know how many people have encountered a weasel, but if you can imagine a weasel with bigger, sharper teeth,
That's all
and
an attack.
very, very ornery natured
Yeah.
creatures.
Yeah. And the
Had
size
a, had
of
a
the
buddy
cat.
of mine had a buddy of mine from work tell me he got into a fight with a martyr, and he kind of grew up with the same like ferrets like you have.
Yeah.
He grew up with ferrets, so he kind of expected that kind of behavior from this thing. So he wanted to just walk over and grab it and like shoo it away. And the attacked him and crawled up his leg and then onto his shoulder and like bit him in his shoulder. He's like, I've never had anything fight me that hard in my life. And I was completely shocked by it. Like, yeah, dude, it's a fucking evil weasel. Anyway, so enough talk about Germany and its wildlife that can kill you. So this week we just,
statistically, America has the more dangerous wildlife compared to Europe.
Yes. And then Australia worse
Yeah.
than America.
Yeah.
Australia is a place I don't want to go ever. I don't. I mean, I'm not scared of anything, but I think statistically speaking, you have a very high chance of dying in Australia. Even the chipmunks will tear your head off at the neck. This week we decided to kind of dive back into a series of great importance to the horror genre again. We've only done one episode from the series so far, and here's a movie that me and Mike.
No.
Oh wait, no, you're right. We did two. Fuck.
Yeah, we did part 1 and part 2.
That's right. I forgot about that. Holy shit. Okay, so go back and watch those episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this series is more of a nostalgia thing. I think if you like at my age when I saw these, I loved them. I did. I loved them. And everybody likes this character, at least in our age group, unless you were just scared of him, right? But I go back and watch the movies now and I'm like, these aren't so great.
I don't know. You just constantly complain. I still like him.
I don't know what was going on there, dude. This is a period in horror movies, like the 80s was saturated with horror films. Like if you were a horror fan in the 80s, then you had your pick of anything and everything that you could possibly watch, and it was all the rage. This was one of the big ones. This and a few other. And I don't know, like it's its own thing. The first one was its own thing. The second one was a little weirder. This one is definitely kind of expands on the story a little bit more. The characters are more interesting. The story just in general feels a little hurried, but it's still more interesting. And just, I don't know, did a lot better than part 2. When we did part 2, I was having a hard time finding things to like about that film.
Yeah, it's just because part 2 was just so how can I say it? It was so different, compared to the first one. Also, the concept of the killer, what he was doing and all of that was just different. It totally fell out of the entire concept of the character, because if you think about what this character is, this character should not have any reason for what it's doing in the first part, because what it's, I mean, we'll get that once we reveal what movie we're doing on, but once this character passes over into what it's trying to do, it will become weaker. It will become vulnerable. What also just did not make much sense in the second part.
Yeah, there's a few things they did in the second part too that kind of ruins the canon that they went for with everything that came after it. And I think there's a lot of argument with horror fans that say, well, part 2 is disregarded because it wasn't a good movie. I don't believe that. I think part 2 was a good movie. I just think that there's enough things that happened there that didn't fit with the canon that they were going for with everything that comes after it, that it felt easier to just ignore what happened in that film. And that's kind of a shame, because I feel like nowadays, that's the film that's beloved by a certain community, right? And that community praises that film and loves that film. And for that reason alone, it gets called out as one of the better ones in the series, even though it was ignored by everything that came
I
after.
know the community that likes it, but I never saw any of that in the movie, to be honest.
That's
Even-
just it, though, Mike. If you're not looking for it, then you don't notice it. But if somebody tells you about it and then you go watch, then it's apparent what's really going on in that movie. And I don't think that makes it a bad movie. I think that that's cool that they were able to slide that into an audience that wasn't exactly as open-minded as we are nowadays. So it was definitely a daring thing to do. And if you go back and watch it, you'll see it. But before we totally give this away, Mike, what movie are we doing today?
A Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
Yes.
Dream Warrior.
I'm gonna give it a new name. I'm gonna call it Nightmare on Elm Street 3: The Dream Tryhards.
That fits. That fits.
Yeah,
That actually fits very well.
The Dream Tryhards.
I mean,
there's a lot of reasons for that.
But-
I feel like what?
there's one thing off topic I want to ask you. Did you
Go
watch
ahead.
the Child's Play remake?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
Okay.
I haven't had a chance, dude.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it though. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I owe it to, like, everybody who watched that episode to go back and kind of see if what you're saying is actually true, even though I know it is. I mean, I just want to see how close it is true to being like almost Megan. You know what I mean? But I will. I swear I will go back and watch it. And then I'll come back and give you like a full review of what I thought.
Okay.
Because, like I said, the first time I watched that movie, I fucking hated it. And I hated it from opening to close. And for that reason alone, I just didn't pay attention to everything. But thinking of Chucky as an evil AI, it just like ruins everything for me. You know what I mean?
I know. That was for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But we're not doing Megan or Chucky. We're talking about
No. Yes.
And I already put my ferrets back in, so we don't have to worry about Freddy crafting the
You should let him out, dude, because I think that's hilarious. If he hears us saying his name, he's going to come sit in your lap. That's what happened last episode.
I know, but
Fucking let that little guy out, dude. Let him out. He can hang out. Maybe he likes to hear his name.
I know he's sleeping and I already fed them.
Okay.
I mean, okay, the last time it was on a Sunday, maybe the next time, yeah, because usually, also when we got Nightmare on Elm Street 2, he was also running around because he constantly heard his name, but
Yeah. I remember. It wasn't just 2; it was 1 as well.
one was specifically, yeah.
Yeah. If I go back to both videos, 1 and 2, he shows up in both of them. So it wasn't just the first one. He hears his name and he hears you saying it a few times, and he's like, "Hey, what's going on? Why are you guys talking bad about me? I didn't kill anybody. The fuck." Anyway, Nightmare on Elm Street 3. If we're talking about historical context, at the time that this movie came out, I think the only real gripe you could have about this as a horror movie is some of the effects. But even then, in a historical context, you can't really fault that because they weren't doing anything different than any other horror movie was doing at the time.
Yeah.
There's a few other things that me and Mike talked about before we started filming. This movie feels all over the place, though. And it's not necessarily a complaint, but I feel like there's a plot thread here that they may have wanted to explore, and then they ditched it, and then they picked up on the next plot point, and they realized, hey, we can't take that one any further because it's going to take too long, so we're going to cut that one off and pick up another plot point. So this movie just does this the whole time. That doesn't make it annoying. It doesn't make it hard to watch. It's just something I noticed. I'm not, we're going to find out who wrote the script for this one and who the director was, because I don't think it was Wes Craven.
Wait. I don't think it was Wes Craven.
He was an executive producer, but I don't think he wrote it.
No, the story was by 2 people, Wes Craven and Bruce Buckner. No, the director was Chuck Russell, but he was definitely involved in the story.
Yeah, he was involved. I mean, this one feels so different than the first movie.
I wouldn't say that.
It does. I mean, it retains pieces of what that movie was, but it feels completely different. Arguably a better movie. Can we say that? Better movie than the first movie.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I think we stomped all over the first one, if I'm not mistaken. Even though we loved it, we still stomped all over it for a bunch of reasons. Like if I go back and watch that episode, we were not kind to Nightmare on Elm Street.
There were a few episodes we were kind. Even our first episode, Werewolf.
That is warranted in a big way. That is warranted. That like there's a reason for that. That movie is it's fun. It's a great popcorn movie. But a good movie it is not.
No, and at the end of the day, I just thought it was going to be more or better, there was just like the Purge with werewolves thing with werewolves was kind of a cool concept, but it was just, dude, it felt like it was a sequel to a movie that already happened.
Yeah.
And there was zero explanation why people were werewolves. It's just like, oh, everybody that looks in the moon this night turns into a werewolf. I thought
yeah. And you really, really had to watch close to even get that much out of it. Like,
yeah,
they kind of slid that in there. That's one of the things that bothers me. Like, if you go to watch a horror movie and you're a horror fan, you already understand that things don't necessarily need to be explained away. Not all the time, right?
Yeah.
But if you go to the trouble of trying to explain something away, at least do a good job of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's I don't know. That's kind of the thing, because this is not like a zombie virus or whatever and blah, blah, blah. So that did not make sense in the context. It just technically would happen to everybody, let's be honest, dude. The most people would just go out and look at the fucking moon and turn into a werewolf. That would be the easiest way to be safe.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. That's what they should have done. They should have said, hey, guys, if you haven't seen the movie we're talking about, go back and watch the first episode of the podcast, because we talk about the movie Werewolves. But yeah, that was the obvious fix and the obvious plot hole for that film is if everyone turns into a werewolf during the supermoon, then God damn it, don't stay in your house. Go outside and look at the moon. That way everyone is a werewolf and nobody dies. Nobody thought about that. They wanted to come up with some serum to stop it from happening. I wouldn't have. Let everybody wolf out for a night, dude. It's cool.
Yeah.
Whatever. You may have like a very large population of deer get killed, but that's the worst thing that's going to happen,
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, this movie, in terms of plot points, so if we go back to the first movie, because this movie obviously ignores Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, right? Just ignores the shit out of it. If we go back to Part 1, we know that Freddy Krueger is a dream monster. Like, it doesn't say he's a dream demon. We just know he's a guy that appears in people's dreams because he was killed by the parents of this town, and specifically this street, Elm Street.
Yeah.
And he comes back for revenge, attacking their children. That's all we really know. And then we also find out at the end, if you want to stop this guy, the only way to do that is to bring him out of the dream world into your world and attack him. That's how you get rid of him, right? This movie takes that and turns it on its head.
But not in a way that I wouldn't say that it doesn't make sense.
It does. It kind of expands upon the lore, but if you think about the way that he was killed in this movie, like how they got rid of him, not at all.
Why?
Did you
they burned him?
No. So his dream demon self. You know what I mean? Like in this movie, they're like, okay, you find out through the plot there's something that you have to do to his remains to get him to be gone for good, right?
Yeah.
That's not something that we saw in Part 1, nor is it something that we saw in Part 2. And this is never revisited with any of the other movies that come after it. So technically, this should not have worked in any way.
Well, when it comes to ghosts, demons, that kind of story, burning the remains of a ghost will, in a lot of stories, eradicate the ghost and or force the ghost to go away. That is in so much fantasy, that is in so much horror stories, so much ghost stories, that is so often in folklore. I never really made that connection, dude. I didn't think about that much.
But he comes back You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I mean, the point is he always comes back.
right. Okay. But I mean, it felt like maybe they were trying to do something different here about the way you get rid of this guy, but it would have just made so much more sense to go with the original idea of pulling him out of the dream world to kill him instead of coming up with this crazy, insane thing that you never see again throughout the rest of the movies.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
I get,
well, yeah,
but
probably.
I don't get.
Well, I mean, also, if they burn his remains in the first in this movie, how should they have brought that back in the other movies, man?
Well, they can't, but that's the thing. Like,
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
if
but
this is
because
if this is
because
what gets read,
because you says they never bring this up again. How? How can they? I don't
well,
get.
that's just it. So here's the thing
Yeah.
with the next movie, they dig him back up. Nightmare on Elm Street 4. They dig him back up, his remains. So it's like we're going to ignore the fact that we burned his remains in this film.
Okay,
That's what I'm saying. It's
I
like,
don't remember
it was a
watching
bad
before.
idea.
Yeah.
It was a bad idea, and it wrote them into a corner, and they realized that. So part 4 ignores that they burned his remains. Like, just pull him out of the dream world, like we did in the first movie, and get rid of him that way. And that's what they do in every movie after this.
I mean, the point is they could have made an easy, very easy way to get out of that one as well. I mean, as you say, like burning his remains, they have to burn all of his remains.
True. Yeah.
What if from the body a finger, a hand, or something is missing? Also, you can make the explanation not necessarily only the remains. It can also be an object that the person had a very strong emotional attachment to,
like a horcrux. Freddy Krueger has horcruxes. Sure.
Exactly. I mean,
okay.
that is technically in a lot of folklore, ghost stories, totally overused trope in Supernatural. That ghosts can attach themselves to a certain object that was important to them in their lifetime, and that even after destroying the remains, if that object is still intact, the ghost will still stick around. So that's
okay.
So that is, I mean, and simply, there are multiple ways they could have the burning remains thing kept that throughout the series, where they didn't have to like do this. There are multiple ways you could have done that more. I would say more better.
Yeah. It just felt like a really stupid way out, and I think that's maybe my only really problem with this is it felt like they were trying to reinvent the wheel a little bit. Towards the end, but at the same time, you can look at this and just say it's a Freddy Krueger movie. I mean, this is in my opinion the best one, and I know you said you haven't seen all of them after this, but this is by far the best one of the series. And I mean, the first thing you said is it's also very, very dark.
No, you said not me.
No, you said that. You wrote me and said yes. It's very dark.
No, what?
Yeah, look it up. Look on your look on our Fanalf. You wrote, "Damn, this is dark."
Oh God, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna do it. Okay, whatever. Okay, fine. I might have wrote it. I don't remember.
Yeah, you did. You said it was dark, and then I agreed with you. I said, "Yeah, this is by far the darkest one."
No, dude, that was the Terrifier meme I sent you.
Oh, wait a minute. So I thought you were talking about the movie, dude.
I sent you that Terrifier meme. And I say, hey, dude, this one is fucking dark.
Okay,
I meant the Terrifier meme.
I saw the meme, and then I saw what you wrote, and I thought you were talking about the movie. But okay, you're not wrong. Even if that's not what you meant, this movie is the darkest one out of all.
Well, okay, yeah. I mean, I would have to. I mean, eventually, probably, we're gonna watch all of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. But I haven't seen all of them. I definitely saw the first 3. And 2 others, maybe not. I don't remember, dude. Really, I mean, but however, no. We're probably gonna have to get into the name butchering. But something we forgot in the previous episodes, is before we do that, if you like our podcast, please don't forget to give us a like to this video, comment, and subscribe to our channel, but only if we earned it, only if you actually like us.
Yeah, if you think we suck, tell us we suck too. I'm cool with that.
Exactly.
Like,
Specifically, if you guys think math sucks, specifically
yes,
then.
I think I suck. Just please tell me.
Exactly.
I need some
because
feedback
then
here.
I have something to laugh at.
If Mike sucks, just leave us a like. How about that? Okay, Mike.
Okay.
I'm eventually going to have to go get a new bottle of this stuff because we're getting a little bit low.
Oh
Because
yeah.
you keep butchering it. So
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
got the rum.
Let's start out with the most obvious. Robert Englund plays Freddy Krueger. Heather Langenkamp plays Nancy Thompson.
That was the German way of saying it. Yes.
But I did not mispronounce it.
German I'm not arguing with you. I don't want to drink. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Okay.
German names I pronounce in German. Okay.
Yes.
Then we have the second main protagonist, Patricia Arquette, playing Kristen Parker. Okay. We have
It's Arquette. Patricia Arquette.
Arquette. Yeah. Okay. Fine.
Cheers.
Here's first one. Then we have Rodney Eastman playing Joey Cruzel. And this is something I did not remember. Lawrence Fishburne is in the fucking movie.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I did not remember that, dude. Yeah.
I knew that because this is not one of his first films. Like he'd done several films, but the actor himself is a big fan of the first Nightmare on Elm Street movie.
Mm-hmm.
So he requested to be in this because he is a fan of Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's why he was in this movie, and I think that's cool. Lawrence Fishburne is a horror fan.
Yeah,
which is awesome because I love Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah, exactly. He's a great actor. I also like his movies. No,
yeah,
most things I've seen him in, obviously. No, then we have Craig Wasson playing Dr. Neil Gordon.
Who?
Craig. I don't know if it's Wasson or Wason. I'm not sure.
I don't know either. Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
Okay, then we have drink
because we don't know. So if you don't know, I have to drink.
Okay, fine. Okay. You don't have to drink.
Dude, fuck it. I mean, if that's the way we're gonna be, then we'll go ahead and do this. I mean,
dude,
why not? I mean, we said if we fuck up the name, which not knowing if it's correct is still fucking up the name. So down that. Here we go.
Okay. Then we have Jennifer Rubin playing Taryn White, Ira Hayden playing Will Stanton, Ken Stajos playing Roland Kincaid, John Saxon playing Donald Thompson. Okay.
So far, so good.
Yeah. And then I think, oh God, the list goes on and on and on, but there's nobody really. The one actress, Stacey Aiden, that's the one nurse that the other character makes out with. Where the one scene where you kind of think they maybe slightly wanted to turn this into porn, but thought, nah.
That's the thing though. It's the 80s.
Yeah.
You have to think contextually about the 80s and what we actually had.
Yeah.
At this time, this was 1980 what?
87.
87. So if it's 87, that means the only thing that you had was if your dad had Playboys or magazines that you could like sneak away and read yourself.
Yeah.
Or if you had an adult that brought you dirty magazines. That was the only way you were going to see stuff like this. So they put stuff like this in the movies because that got ratings. That got people to go see your movie because some guy watched this and was like, dude, there's a girl with her tits out in this movie. And he was like, oh my God, I got to see it. You know what I mean? So it was a big deal then, right? So yeah, it feels like softcore porn. We're really not doing anything different today, though. Like, if you go watch Game of Thrones, it's the same shit.
Yeah, but Game of Thrones generally is a bad show.
Yeah, it's awful. But then you got stuff like True Blood as well.
Dude,
Blood,
I'm not complaining. They can show titties all they want. I don't care.
But that doesn't... So that's what kills me, though. They feel like they have to sometimes to get, like, ratings, which I don't, like... It's great. I don't mind seeing naked people. I like it. It's cool. But... you don't necessarily have to do that to have your show do well. And that's what bothers me.
Yeah.
So here's a fun thing to remember. Game of Thrones and True Blood were going on at the exact same time, both on HBO, right? And so when you notice that Game of Thrones was getting more coverage and more watches than True Blood was, that's when the sex in True Blood got turned way up to 10. because they were trying to steal back viewership
Yeah,
from Game
but
of Thrones,
I mean,
right?
the thing is, it's also a different concept. You know, the entire sex thing with vampires makes more sense. Considering the fact, just the nature of the entire source material to begin with, that is also a very strong thing. Interview with the Vampire Chronicles, exact same thing.
Same thing, yeah.
Extremely sexual series, even though the sexual thing is more underlined than everything else because it's more explained through the blood. One thing that I would say brought up as criticism towards the Interview with the Vampire remake, loved it, thought it was great, but all the underlining erotic stuff is just full on sex in that show. By the way, don't really care. I mean, obviously homosexual sex because it's the Vampire Chronicles, duh.
Yeah, of course.
But it was just like with that series specifically, that it kind of a little bit took away the a little bit of the vibe, if that makes sense. A little bit of the mystery, you know?
Yeah.
Because it was all, even in the books, I've read like, I don't know, 10 of the Vampire Chronicle books. A lot of these things being explained, these erotic things or whatever, were all underlining.
Yeah.
And when you just, in like the remake of Interview with the Vampire, where they just full on sex, I don't know, it just feels a little bit, that part specifically felt off to me.
Yeah.
But
I get that.
either than that, the show was great. I love it.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. Like, I feel like I said before, I feel like these shows feel like they have to have that.
Yeah.
And it has to be more and more gratuitous for them to be able to get like the viewership that they want. And I just don't give a fuck. Like, give me a good story and great acting and like engage me. I don't need all that shit, but they feel like they need that just to keep viewership up. And that drives me crazy. Because like, if your story can't stand alone without that stuff, if it's part of the subject matter, like it is with True Blood or like it is with, Interview with a Vampire, okay. But we don't necessarily have to see it. And I'm not a prude in any way. I don't care if that stuff's there, but it feels like it's pushed so much. And like, I don't get it. But then again, I'm not a series maker or a movie maker. Those guys are under pressure to have certain things in their series and whatever. It is what it is. Yeah, this movie has a scene where it basically could have been softcore porn, but that's no different than anything else in the 80s. As we said, this movie ignores the shit out of part 2.
Yeah.
So if you were to watch part 1 and then pick up watching this one without watching part 2, you will have missed nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's as if nothing that happened in that movie happened. So far, to the point that it even picks up with the same character from part 1, right? Yeah. Which we're introduced to her a little bit later, Nancy from the first movie.
Nancy, yeah.
Yeah, and I think 4 years passes between the first movie and this one.
Maybe a few years at least. I'm not sure how much years exactly, but it definitely is a few years.
Nancy says it once here. She's like, yeah, 4 years ago, he attacked me and my family. And then my mom died, right? Which we kind of saw that at the end of Nightmare on Elm Street 1. Her mother got pulled back through the door, and I'm guessing that was the mother's dream because she died in sleep, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, we're not introduced to her at first. The first thing we get is this girl named Kristen, right? And the movie opens up in a very strange way. Like, the movie opens up and you think somebody's making a cake. Like, you see batter going into a bowl and then sugar and somebody mixing it up, and it's all done really close. You're like, why is somebody baking a cake? Turns out that's not what's going on. This little girl named Kristen, I say little girl, but the actress looks like she's 22. Whatever. She's supposed to be a teenager. She's making paste because she's creating a paper mache house. The paper mache house that she's making is an exact replica of the house that Nancy lived in the first movie. So she's having this reoccurring nightmare dream of entering this house and being attacked by Freddy Krueger, right? We don't know that yet. First thing we see is her making the house. The house is sitting on her dresser, the paper mache house that she made. She gets back into bed. You get the feeling that this chick does not want to go to sleep because she's fucking spoon feeding herself instant coffee from the can, right?
Yeah.
Which is like the nastiest shit ever. I can't even imagine doing this, dude. Like spoonfuls of dry coffee into your mouth without any water. This is how much this chick wants to stay awake. So obviously she's been fucked with by Freddy Krueger. He's been messing with her for a while. She is now trying to stay awake.
Yeah.
She gets into bed. Her mother comes in from a night out, and you get the feeling that this mother is not a very attentive mother. She is all dolled up in 80s fashion. Obviously, the house is really nice, so they're well-to-do for some reason. But mom is not attentive. Mom has been out all night, and she comes home to check on her daughter after she's home with her date, who is now in the house. She walks in and says, "Hey, how are you doing? Why are you not asleep yet?" She says, "Oh, I don't really feel like going to sleep." She says, "Mom, I'm still having awful dreams." Mom doesn't care about the awful dreams. Then you hear a voice from downstairs, which is the date that she brought home, asking her where the bourbon is in the house. She's more concerned with going to tell her date where the bourbon is than taking care of her daughter. So she gives her a kiss on the head, says goodnight, shuts off the light, and that's your introduction to this family. Almost immediately, she falls asleep and ends up in front of the Nightmare on Elm Street house from the first movie, right? So this is where I think, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, were we introduced to the nursery rhyme in the first film, or was it the second film? Okay,
It was the first film. I'm not.
Okay.
I don't think we got that in the second movie. Maybe not, but maybe not. I don't remember. But it was.
I can't remember either. I knew it was one of them. I just couldn't remember if they brought it up in the first one. Okay, so everybody knows the rhyme. 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. 3, 4, better lock your door. 5, 6, get your crucifix. 7, 8, gonna stay up late. 9, 10, never sleep again. So in the front yard of Nancy's old house, there's a bunch of kids that are jumping rope and saying this rhyme. She's standing out in front of the house watching this happen.
Yeah.
She sees a little girl on the front steps on a tricycle rolling around. And she knows somehow in her head, probably because she's dealt with Freddy Krueger before, that this little girl does not need to go inside the house, because that probably spells certain death for this little girl, obviously. She asks the little girl, "Hey, what's your name?" And the little girl says, "I need to go inside," and wheels her bike inside. Kristen goes after her. When she gets inside the house, you get the very typical look from the first movie of the inside of the house that we remember. But then all of a sudden, the house changes into a corridor, right? And it's this big, long fucking corridor. At the end of the corridor, you see the little girl on the tricycle. She's screaming at the little girl to come back. The little girl says, "This is where he takes us."
Yeah.
Meaning Freddy Krueger, this is where he takes us. She says, "This is where he takes us. This is where we disappear." And this is where the movie gets dark as shit. And I love it because this tone was not set up in the first movie. She walks down to the little girl, and right next to her and the little girl, the furnace starts up. And we didn't see the furnace at first, but it lights up, and now you realize she's standing next to a furnace. Inside the furnace, and if you don't look close enough, you'll miss it, but inside the furnace is a bunch of children's bones and skulls and shit like that, and it's all on fire, right? And so this kind of sets up the whole thing that we remember about him being a child murderer from the first movie. She grabs the little girl up from her tricycle because she knows what's coming and starts running with her. Now, during the sequence where she's running away with her, you don't realize it, but the girl changes from a normal girl into a doll. But because of what's going on, you don't notice it. But this whole time when she's running, she's carrying like a human-sized doll with this doll hair, right? When she gets halfway down the corridor, you hear Freddy Krueger's voice, and for whatever reason, she steps into this like black goo mush type shit.
Yeah.
And it's obvious, Mike, that her feet are not sticking in this stuff at all. Like this effect was not done very well because she's kind of just stepping in and out of it. It's not like keeping her feet on the ground, so there's no reason why she can't run away. But this is all dream logic, right? So she's stuck in this stuff. Freddy runs up behind her and is about to slash her, but she's able to get her footing back and runs away from it. And this is where we get a scene that I'm not really sure you would be able to get away with showing in movies nowadays, because it is pretty fucking disturbing. She rounds the corner and heads into a room, and inside this room, there are hundreds of corpses from children strung up from the ceiling by their neck, right? I'm not real sure you could do this nowadays. Like, you probably could, but there'd be a couple people that had a real problem with it. She realizes that the kids are hanging from the ceiling. The little doll, the girl that's in her arms that she ran away with, says he's here. And she looks down at the doll, and it's like a skeleton of a child. So it's no longer the doll, right?
Yeah.
And she wakes up out of her nightmare when that happens, in a cold sweat. Awesome open to this fucking film. I will say that. Like, this cold open is better than the last two movies by far. Like, it makes you interested to see what the fuck is going to happen at this point, which is great because I don't know if you remember the first movie, but the first movie did not have an opening grab sequence like this.
No. The first movie was just like, Freddy, there's one girl being chased by Freddy through the furnace room, and and then wakes up in a nightmare. Out of her nightmare. That was the first one. This one, that was definitely way more impactful. No?
Yeah. And the cool thing is it doesn't stop there. So this sequence, you think she wakes up, and I love this. Like, when they do this in movies, it's cool, but specifically in this one, because this might be one of the first ones where they did this effectively. Me and Mike had a conversation about dreams before we started this episode and like lucid dreaming. So, and Mike says sometimes he'll wake up from lucid dreaming and he'll be like, okay, I'm awake and now I got to go get in my car and go to work. And then he realizes he's still dreaming. Right.
Yeah.
I've never had anything like this happen to me, but I've heard of other people who can do lucid dreaming. But this next sequence is kind of that thing. She wakes up in a cold sweat. She's like, fuck. Okay, that was fucked up. She goes to the bathroom to like throw some water on her face, reaches down to grab the faucet, and I fucking love this effect, dude. It's one of those old 80s faucets where there's like 4 prongs that are sticking out of the handle. Yeah. And she reaches down and puts her hands into it, and immediately it does this on her hand. So like the handles on the faucet that turn it on turn into hands. One of them grabs her hand and it starts to come out of the sink, and the other one that you're looking at does this, and the knives come out of it like it's Freddy's hand, right?
Yeah.
So fucking well done. All practical effects. It's just a really fucking cool sequence. As this is happening, she looks into the mirror and she realizes that her face in the mirror is turning into Freddy's face, right? And it's a really fucking different look for Freddy Krueger. In the first movie, he almost looked a little bit like a rotting corpse. In this one, he actually looks a little bit more demonic. I like this look for Freddy better than 1 and 2. He's got a more demonic look. As she looks in the mirror and realizes that her face is turning into Freddy, he takes his knives in the mirror and starts cutting away at her arm. And so you see blood hitting her in the face from her own arm being nicked. And then she wakes up because her mom realizes she's in the bathroom and screams her name. She wakes up, looks down at her arm, sees one giant cut through the main artery in her arm, and she has a razor blade in her other hand. So she was doing this to herself, which is how we know Freddy Krueger works, right? So if you don't realize that you're dreaming and you're being hurt in your dream, you're actually being hurt outside of your dream. This is typical Freddy Krueger logic, right? So now we get introduced to this hospital staff. This is like a mental institution. This is Weston Hills. Now, if you remember back to the first movie, Weston Hills, we were introduced to that in the first movie. So whenever Nancy was having her problems, her mom brought her to this hospital to get analyzed. So this is the second time we're seeing this because it didn't appear in part 2. Now, Mike, I have something to say about this hospital. This is the most inept, worthless fucking staff of a mental institution I've ever seen in my entire fucking life.
I agree on that. The first kill after that, after this happens, actually, and that's, I think, where we can more or less get directly into that. It introduces, like, more or less all of the characters, not these the patients that are on this mental health institution, actually for the same reason.
Yeah,
because they all can't dream because they're all terrified of their dreams. This is causing a lot of them to hallucinate, become suicidal. What, if you deprive yourself of sleep will actually do. I can speak out of experience. I was crazy when I was younger. I actually tried just to figure out how long I could go without sleep.
Yeah, I tried that too.
I managed. I managed 4 days.
Holy fuck, dude.
Yeah. And
That's hard to do if you don't like if you have a choice to sleep.
yes, yes.
Dude, 4
but
days.
I finally went to bed on the 4th day. But I remember specifically the evening of the 3rd day, when going into the 4th day, I started seeing things. I was hallucinating, like one hell of a fucking LSD trip. So,
Yeah.
however,
I would
still,
say don't try it. Don't try it. Like if anybody's watching this and you want to like try to stay awake and see how long you can go, don't do it. Don't do it.
No,
I've had to do it myself. It's not fun, dude.
No, not at all. No, I was crazy and weird. Probably still am. I tried it out just to see what would happen, but don't do it. However, this is where you introduce basically the main cast of the movie. These are all people with mental health issues, and this is also something that straight up to begin with makes the doctors, except for the main doctor that is compared, all look like complete fucking assholes and idiots. You have a group of people that are all having the exact same dream about the exact same person and are all terrified. Now, people do not have, even if they have like the same mental health problem, the exact same hallucination. Identity.
Yep.
Now, these people are all dreaming the exact same thing. It might be a movie that caused it. Some story there or whatever, but Aaron, you clearly have a connection between these people, and none of the staff notices it. None of it, except for the one doctor, and that's like incompetence with the doctors, with the staff, or whatever. Because, of course, these kids are suicidal. A lot of them,
Yeah.
But it's just like at one point or another, if you have like a group of, let's say, I think like 5, 6, maybe 7 of them, I'm not sure, and they're all suicidal, they all have the same mental health issue, they're all saying they're seeing this fucking weird ass guy in their dreams, he's trying to kill them. Wouldn't you try to find some connection with the cops? Like maybe there's actually a guy that might have done this to them or something. I mean, just something. Something that shows that these doctors have some kind of competence,
That's the premise though. And that's kind of why I have an issue with it, because if this were happening in real life, Mike, none of this would go down the way that it is. One, like you said, they would have the police department digging through records, trying to figure out why this is happening. Because there are hints in these dreams as to what this guy is, right?
Yeah.
On top of that, these kids are all suicidal, and there is nothing put in place to ensure that these kids are not going to kill themselves at all.
I know. And the point is, I mean, the thing is, even though it was back in the 80s, they had medicine back then that could suppress dreams, and if they all knew these what?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly. We had the medicine that suppressed dreams back then.
And if the doctors knew that at least temporarily these kids are having these issues in their dreams, give them medicine that suppresses their fucking dreams until you figured out what's actually wrong with them.
Right. Yeah. Nothing was done to help these kids whatsoever, even though the answer was in front of their face the whole time.
Yeah.
And, we could ignore the fact or say maybe in this universe, this medicine didn't exist, but we see that the fucking medicine exists to keep them asleep. So the first thing these doctors would have done would have been to put them on this medication, and they don't. They're just like, we're just going to put them in their rooms and not lock the doors and just hope they don't kill themselves.
Yeah. However,
and the first 2 times it happens, it goes over like a lead balloon, and it's like they don't even give a shit.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Because you have like Nancy coming in, Lauren Fishburne, introducing him to all the patients or whatever, having her talk with her, whatever. They have like the one, I don't remember his name, the black guy. I love the character, by the way. The guy's a complete fucking smart ass.
Shit. What is his name? What's his movie name? It's a cool name. I just can't remember it. Fuck. This actor is also this character is also one of the only actors that survived through 3 Nightmare on Elm Street movies. That's like his claim to fame. What the fuck is his name? The
His
character's
name,
name.
the
It's
actor's
Roland
name-
something.
We'll just call
Kincaid.
him-
Everybody fucking calls this guy Kincaid.
Kincaid.
It's a cool fucking name.
Yeah. Okay. Kincaid. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Then we know. However, okay. Lauren Fishburne says, yeah, these are actually pretty good kids, but they get dangerous or whatever. And he says, yeah, this kid, he looks at Kincaid. He gets himself awkwardly locked up in the quiet room. And Kincaid instantly says, yeah, so I don't have to look at your ugly face.
Yeah, he's a cool character, dude. He's sarcastic as fuck, and he's just kind of rough around the edges.
Yeah.
And he's the only one that's like that. Everybody else that's there is kind of scared of their own shadow.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, that is more or less in the beginning, the majority of what, to begin with happens, be introduced to all of the characters.
But the reason why we're here is because Kristen's mom brought her here after she caught her cutting her wrists in the bathroom. So Kristen's there. We get introduced to all the other kids. She basically starts attacking the nurses and the doctors who are trying to give her shots to make her go to sleep because she doesn't want to go to sleep. And this is where we get introduced to Nancy, right? So Nancy shows up in the door as she's trying to kick the doctors off of her and starts saying the Freddy rhyme to her. And this is what stops all the commotion. And Kristen looks at her and is like, how do you know that rhyme? And so we see Nancy again. Nancy explains, I know the rhyme because this happened to me too. She gives her a big hug, and this is where Kristen settles down, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like you said, we're introduced to all the other characters. There's not a whole lot of introduction or anything that you learn about these characters before they start fucking dying.
Well,
right?
no, not really, because it also starts to happen pretty fast. They have this self help interaction where they're all talking about it. The one guy brings up basically kind of between the lines brings into the doctors. Don't you think it's kind of weird that we're all being followed by the same guy in our dreams? doesn't anybody
Love
find
that.
it a little bit weird?
I love that. And it's like nobody's listening to him. And they're just left there to die. It's like they've given Freddy Krueger the best pool to just take them out one by one without being bothered by anything.
Yeah, it's crazy. However, then it basically turns off to the night. And the funny thing is, it's just like you say, you don't hear much about these characters until they just start getting killed off.
Yeah,
and you have this. It starts also directly after that. It goes into the evening. You have the exact same guy saying that I don't remember his name. Let's just call him victim number one.
Yep. He's a puppet maker.
The puppet. Okay, the puppet is more. I'm going to call him the puppet. No,
yeah. No, but he's a puppet maker. That's like what he does in his spare time is he builds marionettes.
Exactly. That's what he says. A puppet maker. Exactly. That's what he brings up when he's introduced. However, he's sleepy, and you have he gets visited by Freddy. This is a pretty hard scene to watch because Freddy cuts up his arms, his wrists, and everything.
Oh, dude, it's fucking cool.
It's gorgeous.
Go ahead. But this is one of the best fucking kills in this entire series.
Yeah, exactly. That is absolutely true. I mean, it's gory as fuck. And first you think he's going to bleed out, but no, it's not what happens. Freddy actually, in his dream, pulls out his veins and with his
tendons.
Yeah, exactly. And basically, he has it, his veins up into his arms and his feet. And then Freddy starts using him as a puppet. Basically, in his dream, forcing him up towards the high tower because it's going to kind of get this guy to kill himself. But this is basically what happens. You see, this guy trying to withstand it, but he can't because Freddy is controlling him. Then you see him actually in reality, slowly walking through the mental health institution. Up until
nobody's noticing this at all either, except for the kids.
Exactly. This is like it's a mental health institution with a lot of suicidal teenagers.
Yeah.
You have him one weird sleepwalking doing some shit. Nobody does anything. I mean, how incompetent do you have to be? This kid obviously walked through half the fucking mental institution without anybody stopping him. They have an open window in the highest tower open. in a mental institution full of people that are suicidal.
Yep. It's fucking absurd.
However,
It's absurd in the worst kind of way too,
Yeah.
because this type of facility, even in the 80s, would have had like some severe lockdown procedures.
yeah, I mean,
but
what
these
you
kids can basically just fucking come and go if they want to, man. Like,
exactly because then you have like of course I think it's it's already hinting towards these kids are kind of how they actually managed to not be killed by Freddy yet. You have the other two kids that like the D&D guy and the
Yeah.
guy that doesn't want to talk, Silent Joe, I'm gonna call him. They sleep in shifts actually. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So these are also the two that notice it. It's first it's Silent Joe that notices it. Uh takes D&D kid, pushes him up to the window so he can see what's happening, and then runs off. The guy that can't
Yep.
sleep. Great scene, cool scene, by the way, because you can see
Dude, I
like
fucking love this scene. Yeah.
you can see victim number one hanging on this window, and Freddy like using him as a puppet.
Yeah.
Great scene, by the way. You have not only was this guy managed to totally freely walk through this mental institution. You have like this at the end, all of these kids notices and they're screaming at the top of their lungs for their friend not to do this. And you have like, I mean, not only in the middle of the night, could this kid walk like a total fucking spaz out through the entire mental institution? Half of the patients notice it, are screaming at the top of their lungs, and nobody does anything.
Where's the fucking staff? Like, dude, if this is a mental institution, there's no mental institution on the planet, even in the 80s, that would have one person at a desk. That's all they got here. They got one fucking person at a desk, and she is not paying attention to anything. Fucking Silent Joe, who can't say anything, has to run to the desk and like smack the desk in front of the worker and be like, follow me. Like, he can't say anything, but he's like, follow me. And she's like, oh, what's wrong, dear? What's wrong? He's like, fucking bitch, follow me. Like, come on. And so he takes the tray of her food off her desk, smacks the window in the room where the kid in the wheelchair is to break the window so that they can scream up to him. Now, here's the thing that bothers me, Mike. He got her attention, right? So she saw him run off to that room. We never see her again. So she not only did not like care what was going on, she never even showed up. So all these other kids are screaming out the window at the other guy who's on top of the tower about to jump, screaming bloody murder, and nobody shows up. What happened to this woman?
Oh, she decided she called in for a night and went home.
Dude, what the fuck? Like,
I mean,
but this is like shit that they should not have missed. You know what I mean?
No, not actually. I mean, she's like, okay, my shift is over, time to go.
Yeah, I guess. Because she did not give a fuck, dude. Like, she was gone so quick, and we never see her again. Like, I don't get it. Like, this is a movie mistake, dude. This is a movie mistake that they really should have caught.
Yeah.
But one of the best deaths of the movie, I think probably the best one, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Because it's totally gory and fucked up, and it makes you like cringe because it looks like it hurts so bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Freddy's got him up top like a marionette. You see Freddy's head in the sky, like he's gigantic, and he's controlling this kid. And then he takes one of his fingers and cuts the threads, and the kid falls to his death in front of all of them. Right? Cool death scene. We did miss a huge scene before this, where the main girl, Kristen, has another nightmare, and this is before his death. Right. Okay. She has a nightmare. So she's laying in bed and the tricycle shows up next to her bed. And it's the tricycle that the little girl that she sees in her dream rides around on. Right. And I think this dream sequence that we get here is probably the best one in the entire series of Nightmare on Elm Street as well. The reason why you get this dream sequence is because this is the one where she's able to pull Nancy into her dream to help her out. Right.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Right. And that's the only reason we get the scene, is to show that this is actually her ability. So this is called the Dream Warriors. And what we find out is that each one of these kids that are in this mental institution have some special power that they can use in dreams. Kristen's is she can call everybody else into her dream for help. She ends up back in Nancy's house, the Freddy Krueger version of Nancy's house. We get this really cool special effect where Freddy Krueger shoots up through the floor as like a snake and like bites her legs all the way up to her waist. And it's a really cool scene and it looks painful as shit. They had to have like a stunt actor for this because she lands flat on her back. And the snake starts eating her, right? Cut to the next scene. We see Nancy kind of falling asleep in her chair at home and she can hear Kristen calling for her. So then she falls through the chair that she's in and ends up in Kristen's dream and basically stabs Freddy Krueger's fucking snake thing in the eye with a piece of glass. And that's what gets Freddy away from her and they both wake up. Kristen wakes up back in the hospital. Nancy wakes up in her chair at home, looks at her hand and realizes she's cut her hand from the glass that she used to stab Freddy in the face with, right? So now she realizes that Kristen has the ability to pull people into her dream, right? So that's why we got that sequence. After that, the next morning, Nancy shows up with the paper mache house that Kristen made because she had to go back to her house to get her luggage to bring to the mental institution. She noticed that the paper mache house was her house. So she grabbed that and brought it with her, sets it in front of Kristen and says, "Hey, how long have you known that you have the ability to pull people into your dreams with you?" And she said, "Well, I used to do it with my dad when I was a little girl. I used to have nightmares and then I'd call my dad into my dreams and he would help me out of them. And then the next morning at breakfast, we would joke about it." So she's had this ability her entire life, right? And so Nancy explains to her, "Hey, look, this is not something that's normal. This is not a normal ability. You need to try to hone this if you can, because this could save you," right? The next scene we get is the next morning at group, which they have this big group therapy session. And keep in mind, this is still all before the first death of the kid that we just talked about, right? You're introduced to the kid that's in the wheelchair. We find out he's in a wheelchair because he tried to kill himself.
D&D kid. Yeah.
Yeah, D&D kid, right. This is why he's in this mental institution. He tried to kill himself and ended up paralyzing himself. That's why he's in a chair. You have the other girl that's in there, whose name I can't remember, but she is a drug addict, right?
Yeah.
Heroin addict.
Junkie. Yeah.
Junkie, yeah, we'll just call her Junkie. She's in there. We have the blonde girl who is obsessed with being famous, like a rich and famous actress. Also, arguably has one of the cooler deaths in the movie as well.
True.
Yeah, like this is the one that everybody remembers besides the one that we just talked about.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have Kincaid and we have the most absolute worthless fucking nurse of any movie ever that is part of the group leader sessions. This old woman, she's fucking terrible, dude. Like, not only that, she goes off script against like normal human psychology teaching about what dreams actually are, and just basically calls all the kids crazy. Do you notice that?
Yeah. I noticed that. Yeah.
Fucking useless chick. So yeah, we got our introductions. Then comes the scene we were talking about where the first kid dies. Really fucking cool death scene. Yeah. So the next sequence is after that kid dies, they go into group again. This is where Kincaid flips out. He's like, "Fuck that. That guy just died. You guys aren't doing anything about it. I will fight you to get out of here." So they have to take Kincaid down and put him into a padded room so he doesn't hurt himself, right? The doctor and Nancy have gone out and had dinner somewhere, and she's kind of told him the story about what happened to her with Freddy in the past. So she explains, "Hey, look, 4 years ago, this guy tried to kill me. He killed all of my friends. And then eventually he killed my mom. And so I got into my job that I'm into now so that I could help other people. And this is an instance where I'm seeing the exact same thing happen to kids that were my age when this happened to me. And I know who's doing it. So I need to explain this to you so that you can help these kids." And so now that they've had this conversation, this doctor is interested in going in and actually being honest with these kids and trying to help them. Unfortunately, he has to do this without telling the rest of the hospital about it, because if he explains it to the head nurse or anybody else, they're going to fucking fire him and they're going to fire her because they're going to think she's nuts, right?
Yeah.
So before he's able to talk to all the kids about this stuff and let Nancy talk to them, we get our next death. And that's the death of the blonde girl that's obsessed with being a fucking
Actress.
actor. Right. Another thing I think is interesting about the scene, Mike, we were told early on that this girl likes to burn herself with cigarettes, right? So she's got like several burn marks on her arms. And she comes up to the doctor at the beginning of the movie. She's like, hey, any chance I'm going to be able to get my smoke breaks back? And he's like, well, you keep burning yourself with cigarettes. So no. Right. But then in this scene, we see her sitting in the break room watching TV. And there is a pack of cigarettes in front of her and an ashtray, and she's left alone by herself. And the first thing she starts doing is burning herself with cigarettes. Again, absolute incompetence by this hospital in every way. Not only do we get that, we get Junkie Girl out in the hallway who just got out of a shower, and fucking jerkbag night guy who's on like night duty. Who reminds me of this greaser from the 50s, is smoking a cigarette outside of the female shower, waiting for her to come out, right? When she comes out, he's like, hey, baby. Like, hey, baby, I got the keys to heaven. She's like, what the fuck are you talking about? She's a drug addict, right? So he's like, I got the fucking keys to the pharmacy here.
Yeah, piece of shit guy.
Dude, why does this fucking night manager scumbag have the keys to the pharmacy? That's like... This guy would have had to have gone through some serious formal training and a background check to even have that key. I don't think he'd be acting this way, but he's obviously trying to get down this chick's pants, right? And he knows she's a druggie, so now he's offering her all these drugs. Like, worst staff in the fucking world, dude. We're in every fucking way, right? So she tells this guy to fuck off. I don't want any of your drugs. We cut back to the other break room where star obsessed girl is sitting there burning herself with a cigarette and watching TV. On the TV, there is basically what amounts to the Tonight Show, right? Like at this time, it would have been Johnny Carson, but she's watching the Tonight Show. There's this woman getting interviewed. She starts to get a little heavy eyed while she's watching this. And at some point here, she falls asleep, but you don't really see it. Right. As she's watching, this is a great scene because she's watching the talk show and the dude who's interviewing the woman on stage is like, I have one more question for you. And she's like, sure, baby, go ahead and ask. And he's like, who gives a fuck what you think? And he turns into Freddy and like cuts her up. Right. So, you know, he's sleeping, but it's still a cool scene. She thinks this is a little bit odd. She's like, what the fuck did I just watch? And tries to change the channel. And when she does that, Freddy Krueger like calls her over to the TV. Like she walks over to it because she hears these voices coming out of the TV. This is cool. It's all a practical effect. You can actually go behind the scenes and kind of watch how they did this. But for the 80s, this is a fucking awesome death scene. Practical effect. From either side of the TV, mechanical arms come out and grab her and pull her up to the front of the TV. Freddy's face is on the screen and then goes to the bottom of the screen to the top of the TV. Yeah. So it's a TV. Freddy's body is the TV and his head has antennas coming out of it like an old 80s TV. Yeah. And he's got his arms wrapped around her. And this is where you get the first time that Freddy ever says the word bitch. He's like, welcome to prime time, bitch, and smashes her head into the fucking TV. Dude, it's a fucking cool kill.
It is, yeah.
I love this shit, dude. Hell of a way to go out because I kind of liked the character. I felt bad for this little girl.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, to be fair, there are not much characters, I mean, from the main cast at least, that aren't likable. You know, these are all actually people, you know, that clearly have their issues. But I do all think we'll all be cool people to hang out with.
Yeah. I mean, if we knew anything about him, the first guy that died, we didn't know shit about him other than the fact that he liked to build marionettes.
Yeah.
The character development here is seriously lacking. The blonde, I will say, I felt bad for her. She was obviously like kind of a sad person to begin with. And the fact that she had to die this way is a little bit disheartening. But whatever, it's a horror film. And then we get a quick scene of the funerals. So our main guy, the main therapist, whatever his name is, I think is Neil, is outside and he's attending the funeral of these these two kids that just died for whatever reason. The funeral is on the grounds of the mental institution. Can't explain that one, but it is on the grounds of the mental institution. Neil, for whatever reason, is hanging back from the funeral. So he's not like up front where the funeral is happening, but he's obviously distraught. He's crying and he's leaning up against a tree. And this nun walks up behind him and she asks him if he's okay and what he's doing. And he said, "Oh, there's been 2 deaths. And, we're having the funeral right now, and blah, blah, blah." And she's like, "What religion do you belong to?" And he says, "Well, science." So he's an atheist, obviously. Says science. And she says, "Oh, well, that's not good." And he's like, "Why?" And she says something really off the wall. And this is where like the movie, this is one of those stories that was going to be a bigger story in this episode or this movie, right? This story was going to be explored more, but they realized that they didn't have the time they needed. And so this becomes kind of a side quest that goes nowhere. But the nun is like, well, the only thing that can save the children now is if this soul, this abomination, this monster is laid to rest. And he's like, "What?" Like, "What? What are you talking about?" He's like, "I've seen you before somewhere. Do you volunteer here often?" She's like, "Yeah, I volunteer here when I'm needed." And he says, "What's your name?" And she says, Sister Mary something. I can't remember. But basically what this woman is Amanda Kruger, right? And we'll find that out later. But this is Freddy Krueger's mother. And she's trying to explain to him that the body of Freddy Krueger has to be laid to rest in some way, right? But she doesn't really explain that. And as she's about to explain it, Nancy walks up to him from the funeral and says, "Hey, what are you doing?" And he's like, "Oh, I was just talking to this woman," turns around and she's gone. So we don't know if she was actually there or if she's an apparition or if she's, a real person or anything like that. Really strange scene, feels a little bit off for them to have kind of shoehorned this in there. And later when we see her again, it's a little bit shoehorned in. But the purpose of her being there is to explain to him that something has to be done with Freddy Krueger's body to where this madness can stop, right? Nancy kind of says, "Okay, do you want to maybe go out for a drink or something tonight? Because I can tell you're not feeling very good about anything that's just happened. Obviously, they just had some kids die or whatever." So they decide to go out for a drink. And then this is where Nancy brings him back to her house and she explains to him what happened to her when she was a kid. So she retells him the whole story of the first Nightmare on Elm Street movie. And he gets that backstory. He figures out what Freddy Krueger is. And so now he's bought her story hook, line, and sinker. So now you have basically 2 rogue shrinks that are going to go to these kids and explain to them that a sleep demon is trying to kill them. And for whatever reason, Mike, they think it is a really good idea to put everybody in this group room to sleep at one time, right?
Yeah, for some reason, yeah.
Does this seem like a good idea to you? Does this seem like the way that you would have gone to try to fix this problem?
No, not really. I mean, I don't remember if they explained why they were doing it. I think because Nancy thought that they have to stop him the way she stopped him a few years back. But what is kind of odd. And also Nancy brings something up that you all have a certain ability, some dream ability.
And she knew this how?
Exactly. That's the point. How the fuck did she know that? That should have been explained. Yeah. But I mean, it is actually insanely stupid because Nancy knows exactly what she's up against, and she wants to do that to herself again. The best thing that these people could actually do is the doctor to give them the medicine that would suppress their dreams. What any mental institution would do, if they know, okay, these kids are all having mental health issues, they're all suicidal. I mean, not suicidal, but that's what an outside person would think. Right. And they all know it was being caused by their dreams. What any normal, psychiatrist or an institution would do, they would give them this medicine to suppress their dreams temporarily until they would be able to convince them that it's only a dream or whatever and blah, blah, blah. Huh? Yeah. So that would have been actually the smart thing to do if, like the doctor and Nancy knew what they were doing. And then to just, like I would say slowly do more research on Freddy, figure out what they could do, or talk to the nun if she actually knew something. Actually try to figure something about sleep demons or whatever. I mean, lucid dreaming probably back in the 80s was not that much of a big thing as it is now. I mean, even though now it's not really that big of a thing. I'm not even sure if there's actually any science behind lucid dreaming, but there's a lot you can read up about. Or at least did something to figure out how you could effectively stop this thing for Freddy. But no, they just decide to go full in guns blazing without knowing the fuck what they're going to do. And this is also where they decide to have like this hypnosis thing where they all put them to sleep. Huh?
Right. It's weird because they put them all in this group room, and then Nancy explains what happens to her, explain what Freddy Krueger is, and then she says, and now that I've told you this scary story about this fucking demon that wants to kill you in your sleep, we're going to put you all to sleep. That's what bothers me.
Crazy. And they're all like, fine, okay, cool.
Yeah, sure, let's do that.
Yeah. And this is just, well, okay, then they basically all go to sleep. And then at first they're not fully aware that they're sleeping, but at one point it comes across.
Well, I get the feeling nobody is really.
No, but however, no, until Joey just goes out and leaves the room. Then he sees the one nurse. He's
Nurse Hot Pants.
Huh? Hot Pants, exactly.
Nurse Hot Pants, yeah.
Nurse Hot Pants. Pretty woman, by the way.
Good looking girl, yeah.
Yeah, good looking girl. However, he's out of the room, and while he's out of the room, not chasing after Nurse Hot Pants. I think at one point or another, these people realize they're in a dream.
Yeah,
and this is where they all kind of discover their dream power or whatever.
Which this all comes out of nowhere, man.
Yes, like, exactly. At first
feels so out of place.
It comes out of nowhere. It feels out of place, and it has absolutely zero use in the story. No, because it's called the Dream Warriors, but every single one of these Dream Warriors are absolutely useless.
They're inept. They're completely inept. It is the stupidest thing.
I mean, it's just like, dude, if these people are all aware that they're dreaming, that means they're lucid dreaming. And you would have like the connected mind of 5 or 6 people that are all aware that they are dreaming, more or less. So the point is, I mean, except for Joey that fucked off for some reason. I mean, it's obvious. We know why he fucked off.
Yeah, of course.
This is just something I'm probably going to bring up later on in the movie. If these people are all lucid dreaming and they would have the powers they would be so fucking OP. Freddy would not be able to do anything against them, and their powers in general would be enough to just obliterate Freddy.
Right,
because this is the dream world. It's not reality. And Freddy Krueger is not all powerful. He only has powers to a certain degree. He is not a sleep demon himself, but he gets his powers from 3 sleep demons that he has unpacked.
Yeah.
But even if he only actually has an effect on the dream world. And if you're lucid dreaming, we've talked about this off camera. I lucid dream quite often. If you are lucid dreaming and you have taken control of your dream, nothing can hurt you with it. You can, to a certain degree, you are OP. You can do anything you want. You can make anything that you have ever imagined appear or disappear at will. And if these people are in their state and the powers they show, like the one girl says, like, in my dreams, I'm super pretty and I have these weapons. I mean, by the way, I think even as a mental health patient, she's pretty hot, but
she turns into like a punker thing. Yeah.
We got this punker thing or whatever. And they have like the other kid going on like, in my dreams, I'm wizard, and he shows these lightning things going off in his hand.
Right.
And it's like, dude, if you are for one lucid dreaming and you're a wizard,
Freddy Krueger really doesn't stand a chance. That's
no,
that's
no,
that's
I
the
mean,
point here. You know?
that's what makes it stupid because for Freddy Krueger, these dreams are reality. For us, it's just dreams or the astral dimension, whatever you want to call it. But for Freddy, that is his reality. So that means if you were lucid dreaming and you were a wizard in your lucid dreams, God just make him go away.
Yeah.
Just destroy him into his all final particles. You can do that because whatever happens in your dream is just your dream. But for Freddy, that is reality.
Yeah. Right. So you would effectively be able to control everything. And that's the thing that is kind of ignored in this movie that was not ignored in the first one. So in the dream world, Freddy only has power if you don't realize you're dreaming. Right. And you can even go into part 2. Same thing with the people in that movie. He only had power because these people didn't realize they're dreaming. So now, like you said, he is in a world where there are 5 people that know that they're dreaming, can control their dreams, and he still kicks their ass, which makes no sense.
No.
None whatsoever. And it's made double bad by the fact that these dream powers that they supposedly have makes you feel like they're going to win. That's the other thing. Like they went to all this trouble to make you think that these kids were going to kick this dude's ass, right? And one by one, we get to watch them get knocked off in horrible ways because they're completely fucking useless. And
Yeah.
it's sad too. It's sad too.
At this point, this is where they lose Joey because they're now in this room, circle jerking about how they have these dream powers.
Yeah.
Happening.
Yeah, they're just talking to each other while the
Yeah.
other guy's
Exactly.
about to get fucked up. Right?
And while this is happening, Joey chases after those hot pants. She starts taking her clothes off and starts making out with him. The guy probably like he had the most awesome dream of his life.
Yeah.
Until it turns out that this nurse is actually Freddy, and he starts pulling his tongue out.
Its tongues out on all 4 bedposts.
Exactly. Yeah.
And ties the kid with tongues to all the bedposts. So now he's strapped down to this fucking bed. And underneath the bed opens up it looks like a portal to hell, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Underneath the bed, there's fire. And so now he's just kind of hanging in this bed by the frame because the mattress falls out of the bed and down into hell. And so now he's just hanging by the frame above hell, tied with tongues, right? And we don't know what happens to this kid in this part. We just leave him there, right? So we don't know if Freddy killed him. What's also interesting we might want to add is that this kid, Joey, can't talk. So that's he's completely mute. He can't talk, he can't scream, he can't do anything. He's completely mute. And that's why Freddy ties him with tongues to the bed, right? Just Freddy Krueger's sense of humor, right? So that kid is now tied up. And I think we then flash forward to another dream of one of the other kids, right? Which one is it?
No, you don't flash forward yet because what happens is the other kids are aware that Joey's gone. They rush off into the other room, try to stop Freddy from hurting him. Whatever. Right. Then I think they're woken up. I think I don't fully remember how. I think it's the other nurse or the people that wake them all up or whatever.
Right.
Yes, they get woken up out of the dream, and Joey is then in a coma.
Yeah. It's the one nurse, the really mean nurse.
Yeah,
the one who's a total bitch. She shows up and wakes him up, and is like, "What's going on in here? This is not a sanctioned group therapy. I wasn't told about this." And so now these 2 shrinks are on notice for their jobs. They're basically fired for doing this, right? Yeah. So the headmaster of the hospital fires Nancy and him and says, "Get out of here. We don't need you anymore." So now these kids are basically on their own, and they're being locked down to their rooms, which is another thing that they're told. Now, you're all going to get locked down to your rooms and you're not going to be able to leave, and there's not going to be any more breaks or anything like that. And I think him and Nancy, as they're clearing their desks and boxing up all their things in their office to leave because they got fired, the nun shows back up. And Neil, the main guy, sees her off in the distance walking upstairs. And he's like, hey, wait, miss, I need to talk to you.
Yeah.
And he follows her up the stairs into this room that looks like it's kind of like a room that they use for storage.
Yeah.
And she has a shrine set up in there that's on the wall that it's got Mary on it, and she's praying to Mary, and he stops her and talks to her. She tells him the story about what happened to her, that she was the nun that was on duty at this exact insane asylum back in the 40s. I can't remember exactly when, right?
Yeah.
But she accidentally got locked into the insane asylum with all of the patients during Christmas break, and nobody realized she was locked in there. How the fuck that happens is beyond me. That is a catastrophic failure. Not even back in the 50s.
But for this hospital, apparently another Tuesday.
Yeah, totally normal. Nobody noticed, including her family, that she was locked in there during the entire Christmas break.
Yeah.
By the way, this is also not how genetics work, but she explains that she was raped over and over by the inmates, right?
Yeah.
And that's how Freddy Krueger was born. He is the son of 100 maniacs. Not how genetics work, but fine. She got pregnant by one of the inmates there. And that's where Freddy came from.
Even though they're not inmates, they're mental health
patients. What would you even call them? Just patients, right?
Yeah, no, they're patients. They're. I mean, the thing is, it wasn't even said this was a mental health hospital. I don't know what it's called. But these were not people that were in prison or locked up or whatever. These are people with mental health issues.
Well, they were criminally insane. Apparently, I think that's what she says. It was at that time a hospital for the criminally insane. Right?
Okay, could maybe she said that, and I just don't remember.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
Weston Hills apparently used to be something different than it is now. Now it's just an inpatient treatment facility. But in the next movie, we actually get to see that scene of what happened, and these people are not normal people. It's a pretty messed up scene in the next movie. Exactly what happened to Amanda Krueger. But he's talking to her a little bit more, and she explains, if you want to stop Freddy Krueger from doing what he's doing, you have to find his remains and bury them in hollowed ground, right? Now, that is exactly what she says. She says you have to bury the remains in hollowed ground. What does that mean to you, Mike? What does hollowed ground mean?
Holy ground? I mean, at least on a cemetery or near a church somewhere. That's where.
Right. It has to be holy ground. That's what hallowed ground is, right? Yeah. So that would mean that they would need to find the bones and take it to a church graveyard and bury it or something like that, right? And then she disappears again. He asks her what she means by hallowed ground, but she doesn't answer him and she disappears, right? So after this happens, he goes and finds Nancy to tell her what he just found out, right? Yeah. So Nancy is back at the hospital looking over Joey because he's in a coma. And on Joey's chest, all of a sudden, his shirt opens up, and we get the classic Freddy thing where he likes to write on people's bodies with his razor claws while they're asleep, and it says, "Come and get him, bitch," on his chest. So this is like an open invitation from Freddy for her to come into the dream world and get him back. So he's trying to draw her in because he obviously knows who she is, right? The main doctor catches up with her and says, "Hey, I need to talk to you. We need to know where Freddy's bones are," basically, right? And so Nancy says, "Okay, the only person that would know where he's buried is probably my father, because he's one of the people that killed him." So they go to the local bar, which is apparently where the chief of police hangs out after work, drunk off his ass. So they go to the local bar and confront her father, who is not, one, he's not in his right mind because he's drunk. Two, he doesn't really seem all there anymore, right? This guy seems like probably should not still be wearing the uniform. Let's put it that way. And so she sits down next to him and says, "Hey, Daddy, I've missed you." He says, "Wow, it's probably been 4 years since I've seen you." This is the first time she's seeing her dad in 4 years since the incident of the first movie.
Yeah.
She says, "Dad, I need you to show me where you guys buried Freddy's body." And he's not having any part of it. He's like, "Don't worry about all that. We took care of all that. It's in the past. Live your life, blah, blah, blah." She's not getting through to him at all. So she decides to give up and leave. And so he says, "You know what, Nancy, go get in your car and go back to the hospital. I'm going to talk to your dad." So Niels sits back down, starts talking to the dad, realizes he's not going to get through to him anymore, then gets up and gets rough with him, grabs him by his shirt, throws him up against the wall and says, "Hey, you're going to take me to where you buried this guy's body so that we can end this." Right. Guy really doesn't have a choice but to agree. So they hop in the car and he's going to go take him to where they buried Freddy. Right.
Well, this is kind of like the thing. The point is, the guy's actually a cop and should actually dealt with situations like this more than once in his life.
Right. Right.
I mean,
but yeah, but this is a crime that he basically committed with a bunch of other parents. That's off the book. You know what I mean? Like, this is one of those things that if the bones are found and they're able to identify those as Freddy's, then that would mean that him and the rest of the parents in the town would be on the hook for his murder. So he's not real interested in revisiting this site, right? So they go off to go find Freddy's body. Nancy calls the hospital to see what's going on. The punker girl gets on the phone, and I don't understand why there is a phone in like the main lobby where the patients can just get on the phone at any time. Especially since they're all supposed to be locked in their room at this point. But Nancy calls, the punker girl picks up and she says, "Hey, you have to get here immediately. They're locking all of us up in our rooms. And we're basically just sitting ducks for Freddy if we fall asleep." Right. Please tell me why, Mike, if this is the part that made no sense to me. If Nancy is on Hypnosil, which is the drug that keeps you from dreaming, and she has a whole bottle in her purse, why does she not just give the patients the Hypnosil?
because she's stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
No, but because what she decides to do is she decides to go get them all into one room. Let's do the hypnosis shit again, and I'll go back to sleep.
because that's going to help, right?
Yeah, it's just fucking stupid because if you think like a burning house and you want to get people to safety, yeah, you're totally going to take them and run into the burning house.
Right.
Think-
Yeah. That's exactly what this is. And I never understood that, because if you wanted to find a way to keep these people safe until you could rectify the situation, you would just give them all Hypnosil. That way they didn't dream, crisis averted. But she doesn't do that. And we saw the pill bottle in her purse earlier in the movie. The thing is full. It's not like 2 or 3 pills. It's full. It's a full fucking
but
bottle.
the thing is, even the thing with the Hypnocell, that would only be a temporal solution.
Yeah, but it would be enough for them to get a game plan together.
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now, what she's planning on doing
I mean, it would
is
definitely.
like,
That's the thing that we say to begin with. What they should have done is give all these people Hypnocell and then figure something out. I mean, this is just like the thing where Freddy versus Jason. They pretty much figured out how to get rid of him.
yeah, people were smart in that movie.
Yeah, even every kid that eventually started, any person that started to get dream of Freddy, they just put them in the mental institution and gave them Hypnocell.
Yeah, so
And-
they just didn't dream.
Yeah, exactly. That got Freddy away for quite some time. But I mean, I do think Freddy versus Jason is canon in the Nightmare on Elm Street universe.
It is. It's canon in Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Friday the 13th, and Nightmare are hopping in the same universe. Okay.
Yeah,
Well then,
sure.
the
I
thing
mean,
is,
it was a fucking great movie. I love Freddy versus Jason.
it was great. It was a good movie. It was really good. Yeah. It was really
Arguably,
good. Yeah.
if you're going to put that in canon of the Nightmare movies, that is arguably the better movie of everything.
Definitely. Huh? Yeah, and I still think I would have loved it if they would have not made Freddy a child abuser in the remake, because if they wouldn't have done that, I think people would have thought entirely differently of the movie.
Yeah.
And I also love the portrayal of Freddy in that. I like.
Yeah,
I mean,
it wasn't bad. It
I'm
just wasn't the Freddy I was used to.
yes, but I liked it more. I mean, because the Freddy in the Nightmare movie is more humorous, more, like cracks jokes. This Freddy was fucking brutal.
Yeah.
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 That's what I liked about it.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
what I
that's
liked
been the
about
argument. That's been the argument about Nightmare on Elm Street for the longest time, is that
Yeah.
nobody liked the fact that Freddy Krueger just became slapstick funny,
Yeah. 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 And that's what the remake did brilliantly. If they would have not done the entire child molester thing with Freddy, I do think that people would have not hated that.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that I think you liked it because you were able to overlook that. And quite honestly, I didn't like that part of it either. I didn't like the fact that they made him a child abuser. A child murderer is evil, right? But a child molester plus murder, that's like super fucking evil. And it makes him not likable at all, right?
Yeah. Well,
I
yeah.
was still able to overlook that, but that Freddy in that movie, that portrayal, had nothing in common with this Freddy at all. It's almost like two different characters.
Yes, of course, but that's kind of the point, of the remake.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
And
yeah,
but you see what I mean? Like,
I see
if
what
you
you-
go, this is an iconic character, and so they kind of rebooted Jason too, in Freddy versus Jason, in terms of like how he looked, how he walked, how he moved. Not necessarily the backstory, but Jason doesn't do a whole lot. He doesn't talk. The only thing you get is movements and brutality.
they don't
Freddy,
fundamentally.
on the other hand, is a very like living character. And
Yes,
so if
yes.
you change that, then you've basically changed the whole story.
Well,
That's
not
why people
necessarily.
didn't like it.
It depends. It depends on how they change it. I mean, it worked for Pennywise.
Yeah, but there was a book. You know what I mean?
Exactly. There was a book, of course, but I'm going to be honest. The most people don't know the book.
That's true.
The most people, if they see it, it's like the Tim Curry movies or now the Bill Skarsgård movies.
Yeah.
And except for a small amount of group among the horror fans, people didn't hate the new Pennywise. Actually, the contrary. If you speak about if the contrary, I mean, the movies were massively successful. If they're good or not, that is subjective opinion. But the new Pennywise, he was not hated.
No.
Everybody loved the new Pennywise, to the point that the most people nowadays don't even know of Tim Curry Pennywise.
Yeah.
If the most people speak about Pennywise, it's Bill Skarsgård. I mean, I always like both. I like Tim Curry as Pennywise. I like the newer things. You didn't like it until Welcome to Derry.
Yeah, I didn't like it till Welcome to Derry, because that fleshed out the character and made him
but
that evil bastard that we're supposed to know from the books.
Exactly. But and the thing is, you can change a character, but still have both sides like it. And I think the Pennywise situation, Tim Curry and Bill Skarsgård shows that.
Yeah.
Personally, I just think that the biggest complaint brought up against the Freddy remake was the thing with the child molester.
Yeah.
And
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think that was a big mistake.
Yes. If they would have not done that, that could have been an entirely new relaunch of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise.
Yeah. Yeah. Just that mistake. I mean, I would be curious to know what other big horror fans think of that movie, because I mean, it got a lot of hate online, right? The remake got a lot of hate online, but people online just say a bunch of dumb shit to try to get a reaction out of other people. But in terms of like actual horror fans, what did they think of that? Because as a movie, I'll give it to you. As a movie, it was a good movie. It was well written. It was well acted. The special effects were great. The portrayal of Freddy was a little off, but I think it was off because you're used to the Robert Englund version. As a standalone film, probably great. But I would love to know what everybody else thinks.
Yeah.
Because I haven't really talked to another like big horror fan besides you that liked it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, things the most people I talk about horror is you, obviously.
Yeah.
I don't really interact with that much people. I read a lot, of course, online. Yeah. But we would really like to know what you guys think about this. I mean, the difference between Robert Englund, Freddy, and I don't know the actor's name that played him in.
I can't remember his name. He's the guy who played Rorschach in
Watchmen. That guy.
Yeah, and Watchmen. Yeah.
Great actor, by the way. Great actor.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Excellent. Yeah.
Just I would really be interested in your opinion on the difference. What did you like? Did you like the old Freddy that we all know, or more the new Freddy in the remake? That is what I would be interested in. So write in the comments. Huh?
Let's see what people say. I mean,
Yeah.
we should definitely do that movie too. Is that one on our list?
I have to check, but I don't think I have it
Yeah.
on. And we can put it.
I mean, we'll eventually end up doing it, just like we do probably the Friday the 13th reboot and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, definitely, I would say that remake did a better job. And keep in mind, this is just my opinion. That remake did a better job than the Child's Play remake in terms of like fleshing out a story and keeping close enough to the source material.
Yeah. They didn't fundamentally change what Freddy was. But that's what they did with, Child's Play.
Yeah. And the Friday the 13th reboot too. There's a lot of things I didn't like about that. But then again, I'm a huge Jason fan, so I'm probably going to complain about anything that's not, like exactly like the source material.
I mean, when the movie came out, I was like, I like the Friday the 13th remake, and I thought it was a shame that they didn't bring more into it. I thought it was good how they summed up the entire situation of how Jason got his mask. They put that all into one movie. That was actually brilliant done.
Yeah.
Just, what I'm going to bring up, I knew that Jason was going to lose in the end because they put him up against Sam Winchester.
Yeah, right. Knew that was coming. Knew that was coming. Yeah.
But I think that's something that I read comments about it. I mean, nowadays when people watch it, I think Supernatural was not really that much of a big thing when the remake came out. That was pretty much, I think, around the time when Supernatural was also pretty new.
Yeah.
But if you read comments about that day, this is something that's probably haunting both of those actors. But I don't think that it's haunting the actors, because if you look at interviews, they actually have fun with it a lot, and they actually appreciate that. But it was funny, if you look at, comments of the Friday the 13th remake on any platform, that comment is going to come up all the time. You're not going to scroll far until you see somebody coming up like, he's up against Sam Winchester. Of course, Jason's going to lose.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true, though. I mean, that's the funny thing. Those guys, I will say, from Supernatural, they are really into what they do, and they like that style of dark humor and that style of like dark show. So they've kind of kept in that groove with the movies that they make.
Yeah.
And I love that. I like, now that I'm going back watching Supernatural now, okay, it's a little bit dated, but it still wasn't bad. Like, the stories were good, the characters were good, and it's nice to see those guys in other stuff. So I mean, even the new show, The Boys. Like, I like his portrayal of Soldier Boy in that. He's great. He's a great actor.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you put any movie slasher up against that dude, they're gonna lose. Period.
Yeah.
Anyway, so here's the other part of this movie that makes no sense to me, right? And so the main guy was told by Freddy's ghost mom that the body has to be buried in hallowed ground. So he asked her what she meant by that, and she didn't answer. She disappeared. So somehow that told him that he needed to go to a church and get holy water, which is exactly what he does in the next scene. He makes the cop stop at a church so that he can go inside the church and get a bottle of holy water. And this is a blink and you'll miss it kind of thing. But somehow he knows to do that. So does holy water make ground now hollowed? So I can go in my backyard and bury a body and dump holy water on it, and now that's okay. Like, that spirit is now absolved because I used holy water on the remains. Right? Keep in mind, this guy's also an atheist. So, like, how does he have any like real knowledge of what makes ground hollowed? It just seemed really stupid to me.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it is a little bit dumb, but often a lot of atheists, I admit, know more about religion than a lot of religious people do.
Oh, I definitely do. But I know a lot of atheists who don't. They just hate it because they hate it and they don't know anything about it. Right.
Obviously. Yes.
Yeah.
But
even so, that's a very Catholic thing, the holy water. And I'm pretty sure in Catholic lore, you don't just make some place hallowed by dumping holy water on it.
I mean, I don't also entirely sure how that works, but you can't just dump holy water onto something and expect it to be holy water. Unless
But
it's a
apparently it works.
If it's a vampire, if it's a vampire, okay, yeah, that'll probably kill him. But
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, we've seen that over and over. Holy water definitely hurts vampires and can kill them if it's enough of it. But Freddy is not a vampire. Plus, this whole thing goes nowhere. This movie is called The Dream Warriors, right? But ultimately, what kills Freddy in the end is a little bottle of holy water. It's not the Dream Warriors. But okay. I just this movie's all over the place.
Well, I mean, it is. But then it cuts back to the scene, where Nancy has the brilliant idea to go back to sleep with everybody.
Right.
The greatest idea of the century. This is where, like, the most, I say, this makes all the main characters look like complete fucking fuck ups and incompetent, because this is where in the previous scene, with the dreams, you can say, like, yeah, okay, they were not all really aware that they were dreaming or something like that, and to make that argument. But after this happened, they know exactly what they're going into. I mean, you see all of them use all of these different powers, because then they all go back to sleep or whatever. We did with Kincaid is like, this whole character, he can like rip everything apart. And then it goes into, they go into this dream, and then they're all there and they hug each other. They're like, yeah, whatever, fine, cool. And this is like, I think the blonde girl, whatever her name is, pulled all of them into her dream or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, she's in a padded cell where they put her, and she's fallen asleep there, and she's pulled all of them into that cell.
Yeah.
Right.
But then
Freddy attacks the cell.
Yeah. But he pulls off some kind of big dream storm. I'm going to call it the dream tornado that fucks everything up, and they all get separated now into different areas. No?
Right.
And this is just like where I can see like every single one of these people acting like a complete fucking idiot. I mean, because not only that they're idiots, they're the dream warriors, And I would more call them the I would say mental health warriors or the hospital warriors.
Warriors.
I think that is probably more fitting.
Yes. The dream tryhards is what I said at the beginning.
Oh, that's good. The
dream tryhards.
The dream tryhards, that one's good. However, because then you see like you have like, this is kind of disappointing because if you look at the title and what the entire dream power thing was building up to, you thought like they were all going to have like this awesome Street Fighter fight against Freddy Krueger, because this is instantly what it reminded me of.
Yeah, I mean that's what anybody thought this was going to be.
Yeah. And then you have like, this is like, but Freddy takes them down super easily. It first goes into the punk girl doing literally nothing but throwing knives at him.
Yeah.
The first thing is
fucking stupid.
A guy that has knives as a hand. I mean, maybe knives might not be that effective. Just saying.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like you have like this guy, this super sleep demon that has 5 knives on his hand, and you're gonna pop up 2 small Swiss knives, what they look like. And it's like, what did you think was going to happen?
Not only that, could we not have done better than that too? Because like if you're a dream warrior and you're in your dream and it's a lucid dream and you know that you're dreaming and you can control the dream, would you want to use knives? Like 2 little tiny knives? Maybe something a little bit more extravagant would have been cool.
No, I would have thrown, if it was my dream, I would have thrown a fucking nuke on it.
Yeah, dude. Fucking send him in the middle of the desert and drop a nuke on his head. Call it a day. But not only do they get overpowered, it's sad. Like horribly sad how this goes down.
Yeah, I mean, with the punk girl, it's specifically sad because Freddy, all of a sudden, he pulls up his hands and has like syringes on his hands,
hypodermic needles full of heroin. Yeah,
probably. Yeah, because she's a
junkie.
It was never really stated in the movie that she's a heroin addict. Just that this, except for that one creepy hospital guy that was trying to get rid of. It's just like I think that was supposed to hint towards that she had a drug problem, but whatever.
Yeah.
Then he just sticks these needles into like these holes that appear on her arms, and then basically gives her an overdose.
Yeah.
So she's gone. No,
She's gone.
Then it cuts to D&D Dreamer.
It's sad.
And it's like, dude, this is bringing, okay, because these people are all in a lucid dream. And they should have like totally, and they're in their dream, more or less.
Right.
So they should all have like the upper hand over Freddy. And if you have like this guy that is this wizard, I mean, his spells should be like super powerful. And I mean, I am only partially aware of the magic system in D&D. I've never played it. I read a lot about the lore because I think the lore is interesting. And a lot of these tabletop RPGs, the lore is super cool, dude. You can read it. You can read about it for hours.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely interesting. I can't get into it. Like I've watched people play it, but I'm just like, I don't.
Well, I don't know. For me, it's something, you know, I love Baldur's Gate 3. That game was amazing. But other discussion. But however, if this guy is a D&D fan and he knows he's a wizard in his dreams, he should also know what he can do.
Right.
Why not pull some spell that would instantly obliterate Freddy?
Yeah.
Even though there are specifically in D&D spells that can do that. That there are spells in D&D specifically to kill sleep demons.
That doesn't happen. Not only that, I'm not really sure he even uses a spell. It's like, what does this guy even do? Like, I think at one point he just, well, first of all, he's walking down the typical alleyway that you see. I think we saw it in like the first movie. It's like an alleyway that goes nowhere. Freddy's standing at the end. He's got a wheelchair. He's like, hey, you're a cripple in real life. And when you wake up out of here, that's all you'll ever be is a cripple. And this wheelchair has like knives in it. It looks like a torture chair.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he sends this thing towards the kid. The kid dodges it and it gets to the end of the corridor and turns back around. This is when he finally realizes again that he's lucid dreaming and he's in control of the dream. And he's like, oh, in my dreams, I'm the wizard master, which would be like the dungeon master, but they probably didn't have the rights to be able to say that. So, wizard master. Okay. And turns into a wizard and then does nothing, Mike.
No, he shoots lightning bolts at him.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the weakest spells in D&D.
Yes. Yes. Lightning. Freddy shakes that off. And then picks him up by the neck and stabs him in the chest, and this guy's done. This is the most pathetic death. Dude, he's the crippled kid in the. Could we not have given this guy a little bit more of a fight scene? Something like the movie's called Dream Warriors. I expected to see a little bit of a fight, and you could have given the guy in the wheelchair a fighting chance.
Yeah.
Freddy just like walks through this guy like he's made of paper, dude. It's so fucking sad. And I actually felt bad for this kid in the movie. I was like, that is a really shady way to go out, man.
Yeah.
Whatever, dude. I didn't write the movie though. I'm just here to talk about how bad it is.
Yeah. Then the thing is, you know, then you have like the final showdown between Nancy, a blonde girl, and Kincaid. Huh?
Yeah.
Nancy and blonde girl find each other. They hug each other. Oh yeah, great. I found you, whatever. And then Kincaid just comes busting through the walls. Okay.
Very cringe. It's very cringe, dude.
Yeah. He comes busting through the walls.
Yeah.
Then they have like they showed. Then Freddy pops up and they have like this fight going on between them. Freddy it jumps between the dream and the real world at the same time. Dr. Useless is fighting against Freddy's remains because somehow they come to life.
Yeah. They go to this junkyard where the father buried the remains of Freddy Krueger, and he didn't even bury him. He stuck him in the back of like an old Buick, right? It's like a fucking 1950s Buick. And they're in a bag.
And nobody noticed that. Nobody noticed.
No, not for fucking 20 years. These things have been sitting in the back of a Buick in a junkyard.
Yeah. Okay. Then I think Nancy's. I'm not sure what happens to Nancy's dad. Somehow, Doctor.
the skeleton stabs him because the skeleton of Freddy has his gloves on.
But
right?
yeah, obviously. But before that, Doctor Useless dug out a hole. No. And wants to throw Freddy's remains in it. You have like this fight going on between Nancy's dad, Dr. Useless, and Freddy.
Who is somehow able to control his bones in the real world. Did you get that either?
No, not really.
Like this is stuff that people notice. You know what I mean? Like you can't just say, "Oh, well, I think Freddy can control his body in the real world too, even though it's dead." Sure. I mean, why not? Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Whatever.
Super bothered by that. That is just dumb.
This is a scene where it's pretty chaotic because it constantly cuts between the Dream tryhards and Dr. Useless.
Yeah.
And eventually Dr. Useless throws Freddy's remains in this hole, throws holy water over it, and that's somehow, Freddy instantly is totally depowered by that. He's stopped, and I think the Dream tryhards wake up from their dream, and then somehow everything is fine now.
That's it. The ending of this was pathetic. And even though everybody says this is the best one of all the movies, the ending here makes no sense. None. The Amanda Kruger story, that's the last time we saw her in this movie. Freddy's somehow able to animate his old bones in fights. Okay. Holy water over his bones somehow neutralizes his ability in the dream world to do what he does. So he just disappears and everything's fine, right? That is the dumbest fucking ending I've ever seen in a horror movie. That's worse than the first one, Mike. What the fuck? How did this get greenlit? Okay, it is a better movie than the first movie, but the rules somehow have to remain the same. You know what I mean? Like there has to be a common thread here with all these movies. And this was never brought up in the first one. This was never brought up in the second one. This type of thing never comes up again. But okay. I'm utterly confused by this film, and it makes less sense with every installment that comes after. And Kincaid, that guy is supposed to be like this big, strong, almost Hulk-like character. Like we said, he's got like superhuman strength, and that's his superpower in the dream world. Did we ever see him punch Freddy once? No. So he didn't even get to use his superpower.
Nope.
Okay. So in the end, holy water neutralizes Freddy Krueger if you dump them over his remains. Yeah. And that's the end of the story. Was there, I was so frustrated by the end of this. Was there even like an ending? Oh, that's right. Nancy gets killed.
Nancy gets killed?
Nancy gets killed. Yeah. Because her dad shows up in the dream world after they've already neutralized Freddy Krueger. That's what also didn't make sense. Her dad shows up in front of her and he says, "Hey, honey, I'm dead, but I basically put an end to Freddy Krueger, so you're all safe." And she runs over and hugs her dad, and then you see Freddy's glove go into her stomach. And she looks up at her dad, and her dad smiles at her, turns into Freddy Krueger, and disappears. What? I thought he was neutralized. I thought he was gone. So Nancy is now dead. That's the end to the most important character of the franchise.
Because not real. I'm not sure about Nancy. Because the ending scene was somehow Dr. Useless turned off a light or something, and then the light turns back on. That was supposed to tease that Freddy is not stopped. Surprise.
Okay.
Who would have thought? Yeah, that's pretty much the end. I mean, I like.
Yeah, it ends at Nancy's funeral. They're all at Nancy's funeral.
Oh, exactly. That was it. I mean, I like the movie in general. I just thought it was very chaotic.
Chaotic is a good word. I would just say nonsensical. But a lot of fans, here's the thing. Freddy Krueger fans are a fickle group, right? I consider myself a Freddy Krueger fan. I like the movies in some way, shape, or form, right? But Freddy Krueger fans that are diehards will tell you, hey, you can't talk bad about these movies and you can't point things out that don't make sense because it's all dream logic, and dream logic doesn't make any sense. Okay. But we're also dealing with the real world while we're dealing with dream logic. So there has to be some sense in this, or else there's no point in making the movie. And that's where I'm at here. I don't hate this movie. There's not one part of it that makes any sense. Please, if anybody else out there disagrees with me, I mean, Mike, you said this was going to be that episode that got a bunch of people hating you. So I'm going to go ahead and say, if anybody disagrees with me and Mike, please tell me why you disagree. I think this movie makes no sense.
Did you? I think you're switching something up with our previous episode. Megan was the one where I said.
Oh, that's right. My bad. Yeah, Megan was the one that you said was going to get a lot of people hate.
Yeah. I mean, I probably think I might get, a lot of hate for, openly admitting that I like the Freddy remake. Yeah. That's probably.
That's not that controversial of a statement, I don't think. I think we live in a small world of internet people that like to write things. I'm not really sure that movie was hated that much. Because there are people, I have met people who liked it, but they didn't really elaborate on why. We'll have to see. I would like somebody to leave some comments and say why they like that movie. And then while you're at it, please tell me why you think this one is a great story, because I disagree with you all day long about that. A bad movie it is not, but it does not make any sense. And there you have it. Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3. From there, it only gets worse, guys. It only gets worse. The next movie is not a good movie. Dream Child is the next one.
I think I saw.
Huh?
I think I saw that one. Isn't that the one where Freddy uses the unborn child to get back into our reality and something? Exactly. Yeah. That's what that one is. Yeah, blonde girl from this movie that shows up in it again, right? Yeah. She's back in the next film. And also Kincaid is as well. Okay. So her and Kincaid are back from this movie. I do not think either of them make it out of that movie alive. I'm pretty sure they both die, if I remember correctly. And that is also the movie. You remember how we always talk about Robert Englund, how he comes up with like the stupidest explanations of why things happen in his film? Yeah. And he said really off the wall things. So Freddy is resurrected in the next movie by a dog that pisses on his grave, and the dog pisses fire. And that's what brings him back up out of the grave. And nobody understood that. And I don't understand that. It makes no sense. But when Robert Englund was asked about it, he was like, "Oh, I'm surprised nobody understood that, but that was supposed to be a hellhound, right?" Fucking what? Okay. It looks like a normal Labrador to me. But okay, Robert, it's a hellhound. Anything Robert Englund says is gold. Yeah. Divine comedy. Anyway, I have no idea when we're going to get to that movie, but we will. What's our next movie, man? Our next movie, American Werewolf in Paris. Good. Yeah. I love that movie. Yeah. Awful CGI, good story. Yes, that is definitely. I mean, we're probably going to get into it more detail when we do the movie, but I liked the movie. I thought it was a good popcorn flick. It technically, from plot, story, characters, is also a good werewolf movie. It's just it follows the basic werewolf and lore rules from American Werewolf in London. This is kind of supposed to be a remake or sequel, depending on whoever you talk to. No. That is a sequel, right? Yeah. It's supposed because it depends. I think in some regions it was called American Werewolf in Paris, and in other regions it was called American Werewolf 2. Okay, that's why. Okay, I did not know that. I'm not sure which we have to go, but I know definitely there were a lot of regions where it was just titled American Werewolf 2 instead of American Werewolf Paris. Just like there are a lot of regions where American Werewolf in London is just titled American Werewolf. Okay. So, I didn't know that. I know that in America it was American Werewolf in Paris, but that's interesting. I never thought of that film being a reboot. I always assumed. Also in Germany, it was titled as American Werewolf in Paris. Okay. I always assumed it was a sequel, you know? Yeah. But I mean, it's not. I remember seeing it in the theater and then watching it again at home, and I liked that movie. I think I liked it because it has a lot of really good humor in it. Yeah. It's a funny film. It's not all serious, you know? Yeah.
But yeah, it follows all the tropes of the first movie and kind of makes fun of them at the same time. The only bad thing about it was the CGI, but like you said, we'll get into it when we do the movie.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to say about this really tragically bad Nightmare on Elm Street film?
No, not at all.
Okay, cool. So check us out next time for American Werewolf in Paris. I'm looking forward to doing this one. Until next time, I'm Matt.
I'm Mike.
And we'll see you guys next time.
See you guys next time. Bye.
The black skies, the desert side. Innocent people,